can't even explain to you the inferno that's inside me right now. I have the Thai oil that's stinging me on every piece of my body. My chest is just burning. It's like somebody has thousands of small needles just doing this in my body. With the sweat mixing up with that oil, it's excruciating. I just can't wait to finish this, but I have the goal is another 20 minutes or so, 18. Because the first 20 minutes don't count, those first 18 minutes, because I wasn't sweating. So I want to sweat for at least 30 minutes in total. So I'll be on here about 15 minutes in total. And 30 minutes for me is enough. I can lose quite a lot in that time. I can lose double the amount of what the Thais lose. And one of the biggest issues here in Thailand, it's the sweat. It's not the heat. The heat you can handle, and the ability not to breathe because your body gets adjusted. It's the fact that you just cannot get enough liquid inside you to keep you going at a high level for a long period of time because you lose so much water through your training. And I feel like the Thais, if you study them and watch them, they just don't sweat as much as we do. The water just beads off of the foreigners. Whoever I look at, there's like a huge pool of puddle underneath the foreigner, but underneath the Thai, there's nothing. And they're still working very hard. So their bodies are just so adjusted to this climate because obviously they were brought up in this climate. So it's very difficult to do that. No amount of electrolytes help you out either. It's difficult. I'm trying to always experiment with new drinks, new electrolytes that I try to take to keep that sodium inside me. I keep forgetting to do this, but I've been meaning to actually bring salt, Himalayan salt with me because they say that's good for hydration too. Bring that with me to training and just every time I need to refill my water, just put some salt inside. So your body gets that absorption that it needs from the liquid. You also have to watch what drinks you buy, which sodiums you're intaking. There's 4 different ones. You know, there's calcium, magnesium, and then of course the salts, which is sodium. And there's one more. I forgot what it is, potassium. And you need all those, but the most important one is the sodium, the Na ingredient, which is the salt. So you have, just 200 milligrams of that, but then the whole thing says there's 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Yeah, it looks good, but then if it's just potassium, it's not going to be enough, or magnesium or something, So you need sodium the most. You need salt. Your beverage should be salty to drink. PK Canal. As I was heard saying before, at this point, if you told me that I have to continue being in this condition or get in there and drink that water, I'll happily, with a smile on my face, looking back at the camera with a smile on my face, I'll be diving in there. And that's just to illustrate the effects that these water cups have on me.
So the morning session is done?
Yeah. So some viewers might be wondering, how do I know if I haven't even checked my weight? Just from experience, I know that if I sweat for about 30 minutes, I'll lose quite a lot of kilograms. So I should be even underneath my fighting weight. And if that happens, that's, it's bad in one way, but it's also good because then I can drink up to an extra 0.500 milliliters. So in that way I only have 500 milliliters to cut. And honestly, I'm not even that sweaty because it's the morning. Number one, it's not as hot outside. This is all dry area. And I'm also, just dry. So In the evening, I'll sweat a lot more, but for today, it's enough. Now I go, I take a shower, I check my weight, then we go eat, drink some fluids, concentrated with electrolytes, and that's it. 61.5. Yeah, that's good. The fight's supposed to be at 61.2. So I'm gonna drink about 500 milliliters of liquid, eat something, and then we do it again. The crazy part about at this stage of weight cutting is that anything that's not conducive to your survival, which is, you know, keeping your body calm, not doing a lot of work. I'm just writing down the amount again. Is like thrown out. So there's been times where I check my weight, I step off the scale, come over here to record, and I say, I forgot what my weight was. Because your brain is just not working. It doesn't need that type of department in your brain. Your brain may just be thinking about how am I supposed to get my next meal or drinking. That's all it cares about right now. So it's crazy how much I forget when I'm cutting weight. Yeah, it's always by myself. I don't like to bother anybody. At the end of the day, I chose this sport. Nobody made me do this sport, so I try to do as much as I can by myself. Even if I was able to hold pads for myself and train myself, I would do exactly just that. While you're cutting weight, it's still important to eat, even if it's something small. You can't even swallow the rice without the water. The mouth is too dry. It's important to eat during weight cuts and even to eat carbs. Some people say not to eat carbs because they retain a lot of water, but it also has glucose, and glucose is something important for your body, especially now when you're depleted. So it's important to still have some food inside you, especially with the glucose. You need that energy anyway.
So was that 3 flights of stairs after training?
4. I'm on the 4th floor.
Every day.
Every day. And this is my place. And then take another shower. So I'll drink half of this. This is everything. I'm so in love with this. I want to put a ring on this thing right here. Oh man. Okay, now I'm gonna shower, and then after that, relax, rest, and then about 3 o'clock, I'm gonna head back, get a sports massage first, and then we'll begin the cutting process, the last one again. In my gap, I was just resting, and I was able to actually go to sleep. Usually I don't, but I did. I didn't have coffee. Usually I do have coffee, so maybe that's why too. And I don't have any headaches either because I didn't have coffee, which is surprising. So I think that's something that I'll start doing from now on. And then tomorrow I won't have coffee either, so hopefully I'll be able to sleep as well after the weigh-in. That's gonna be important to get that rested. I'm about to get a massage, the sports massage, which is gonna be hard. The reason why I like to get the sports massage is, as much as it's painful, it's very beneficial because it just opens up the muscles, and I feel like my muscles are a lot more explosive and snappier as well. So it's gonna help when I fight. Mints. I like to use the mints because it helps me just prevent wanting to drink water or something. So it just keeps my mouth moist. Every once in a while, I do get tempted to go back to fight for one championship because, especially with those little gloves. And especially now that I'll be fighting at a much lower weight class. I'll be fighting at the 61 kilograms. I'm always tempted when I watch these fights because it just feels so powerful when you hit with those gloves. And the clinch, even though they limit it, in the clinch you feel a lot more powerful as well when throwing your opponent, being able to grip on. Every once in a while I want to go back to those fights, but I stop myself and I have to just keep my focus on what I still have a little bit of time left for. Because one thing about fighting with those small gloves is that the risk for injury is much higher. You know, if you break your finger, and I've already broken my hand, not in the one championship fights, but I've broken it a couple of times, both hands. The boxer fracture, and then here and here on this side. So it doesn't take much, and I've hurt my hand already fighting with those small gloves. And then I'm also extremely worried about the eye pokes as well because I have one good eye. If this eye gets damaged, that's it for me. No more career, no more doing anything because I wouldn't be able to see. So I have to think about those things as well. Like I was saying, now that I'm at an older age, I don't have much time left. And not only that, but my mentality was always, I didn't have time. Because you never know what's gonna happen. I can walk out today, get on that bike, get hit by a car, and I'm dead. So you never know what can happen. I'm always thinking about the worst case scenario. And that's what I was referring to before, about me being somebody who worries a lot. I'm always prepared for that worst case scenario. So in case something does happen, the worst case, I've already thought about it as much as I can. Maybe it's not going to be the same thing, but I'm mentally prepared for that.
were here during COVID, right?
Yeah, some of the time. I was here when it started. I actually went to the Lumpini fight that caused everything. If you remember, that was the big drama. They said it came from Lumpini Stadium. So a month after, I ended up going home because they said they were going to lock down the country. I didn't want to get stuck here, so I went back home. And that was mentally such a difficult time. Because at that time, I'm like 34. So I'm already late to achieve my goals, you know, to win for the title. And me being a person who worries, I'm just constantly thinking, I can't believe this is happening. I'm never gonna get my shot. All I want to do is fight. So I just started training. At that time, I was with a girl. So her and I were both here, and then we went back. We lived in Brooklyn together. She was a boxer. We trained together, and that helped out a lot. And I looked at it as a business for me. There was no emotions involved. You know, sometimes we would end up arguing, and I would say, okay, we would have a set schedule. At this time, we would train every day. I would say, okay, it's time to train. And we're fighting. She's like, no, I'm not training with you. I said, my training and your training, our professional lives, have nothing to do with our emotional lives. And I would make her train with me because that's what professionals do. And that just goes to show the focus that I had to have throughout that difficult time. And then when I moved in with the roommate, when things were getting kind of better, then I made him train with me as well. Whether he was working or not, I didn't care because he was also training too, so I always had to get somebody to work with. Whether it was somebody from some other part of the city, they traveled. To me, it was like, look, man, you got me that just spent so many years in Thailand. I can teach you something. Just come here and hold pads and let's train, let's work together. So I would barter with people in that way. And then I come back here and I start training with one of my trainers. And he's like, man, you got better. And I knew I did because I was so focused. I was still studying throughout that time. I couldn't let that time just go to waste. It was all about just compiling that interest, so to speak. Interest. And you know, you're gonna be a lot better than some of the other guys who didn't do any of that. So focus. And I was like that since I was, you know, very young. I was able to focus and not let anything get inside my zone and distract me. Whether it was women, you know, a girl that I liked, or I would lose a chance with a girl, it was always Muay Thai for me first, because I had that big picture in mind, and I had to. I knew that was the right thing to do. I knew. Finally, I'm done. Even when people ask me about what do I want my legacy to be, or what do I want to be remembered by, I don't give a fuck. What I care about, I'll answer your question, and I'll tell them I want to be remembered by at least being a good person, good character. But truth be told, I don't give a shit. I'm not here to be remembered by something. I'm here to live my life to the fullest, because after this life, there is no other life. So, live my life to the fullest, and live my life with zero regrets. And I've done that up until this far, and I'm going to continue doing that as well. So me caring about what people are going to think, or, you know, if people say like, okay, well, what do you want your nieces to think about you? Well, yeah, of course, I want them to think that I'm a good person, hard worker, so maybe they can look up to me. Just like I looked up to some of the fighters like Buaka when I first started, you know? But it's not my goal. Why did I choose the sport? Not to say I want to be remembered to this or be a popular fighter. No, I started this to be the best that I can be in the sport, and that's how I'm going to finish it. That's the the main thing, the number one thing. I'm always nervous at this part. This is the moment of truth, the last check. So I'm over by 0.2. But if I don't drink anything, I'm gonna drink something very small, maybe 200 milliliters worth, and then that's it. Tomorrow I'll wake up at 61.2. So that's it for